Okay, so my phone camera's been messing up a little bit. I'm not sure why, but this is Pole Expo 2015 part 5 of whatever. I was talking about how Nagashima Hiroyuki had come to the Pole Expo booth, and we were talking, and we got on the subject of where I drove from. And he's from Tokyo, Japan. Obviously, he flew into like LA and stuff. And then I said, well, I drove from Detroit, Michigan. And he goes, oh, Michigan. And he goes, Chicago, Joel. I'm like, wait, you know Joel Lessing? He's like, yeah, I know Joel Lessing from Facebook. And I think he even mentioned that they had met at an event, but possibly just Facebook. I'm not remembering too well right now. But the point is, if someone like him from Tokyo, Japan, his first thought is of you when someone mentions the state next to yours, you're doing right. So Joel Lessing, you are your reach is far-reaching, and everybody knows of your kindness everywhere. So that's what I wanted to say there. So this is Saturday. Wow, total blank of the mind. It's actually refreshing. I think this muscle relaxer is kicking in. What? I think. So anyway, Saturday was pretty cool. So instead of going to Cleo's birthday, we instead went back to Trixie's so that I could inspect Xerxes to make sure that the noises and stuff that I was hearing since I hit that boulder were okay. And I video recorded it. I'm not even going to share that one because it's boring. Nothing was found. Everything looked fine. I'm guessing that the only thing that I was feeling from that corner was the bent rim, thus being not balanced anymore. And in the other corner, I was feeling the tire being pretty darn bald. That's about it for that. So then we finished up with that, and we had a relaxing night in, ordered some pizza, watched some Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on YouTube on the TV, and started the day early tomorrow on Sunday. Sunday's schedule was different in that it was the first time that Shandy and I were going to be scheduled at one point differently than each other. So it started off with the vendor booth and then the door. Yeah, that sounds right. I might have that wrong. So the vendor booth for both of us, and then she was going to maybe have a workshop. She was on a wait list for Sarah Scott. And she ended up not being able to take that one because she was on the wait list. But either way, that was kind of neat. So I was working the door when she was probably going to be in a workshop and she wasn't. Got to say hi to some more people. Got a massage on my calf and my right knee because of all the driving. I was limping the whole weekend because of it, and I only did like 2 pull tricks before I left Vegas. And then Anne-Marie's eulogy for Vedicus at 10 a.m. in the Moment of Silence. Let's see what else. Interviewing more people, more proactively at that point. Again, I hope I get to revisit this, but basically, so again, go to unitedpoleartists.com, see what kind of videos they got pertaining to Pole Expo 2015, and any of the footage that I took that they didn't use, I'll go ahead and put on here somewhere, and you can see that. Nothing really like groundbreaking or anything, just interviews with people at Pole Expo, most of them pole celebrities, some of them just regular polers like you and me, and an adorable interview with Lindsay Green. It was while I was getting my calf worked out by the one masseuse, and so instead of just her being in the camera and me asking the questions or whatever, it's just both of us chatting with the camera, and I thought it was adorable. Sort of like a laid back video angle and theme going on, and the conversation was seemingly random. So yeah, 5 p.m. came around and the official Pole Expo was ending, but then for us volunteers we had the teardown for the X stages. And I've been around X poles a lot. I've been around X stages decently a lot. And these were the new version of the X stages, in that their X joints had the elliptical kind of oval rather than the circle. Other than that, it's working in the same way as the old one. But I think I counted 96. That's the math I got from the pallets and stuff like that. But we had a really interesting way of doing it. Like each person had their own task, and we just sort of organized ourselves. And those of us with tools would, loosen the X joints or loosen the base to take the whole pull out, and sort of like an assembly line, but not really. But we just started knocking rooms out, but then we lost like half of our people because they were already staying later. Jason Lamb, I think, was one of those guys who was there for like 10 hours a day, and Jimmy Blue was there. Oh, he's so funny. If ever you get a chance to see Jimmy Blue perform pole, which not recently, he's kind of injured his shoulder, but any chance you get to see Jimmy Blue perform or get to talk in front of a crowd, he's definitely in the right place in front of a crowd. So we tore down the X stages and worked up a mighty sweat from that, and then went and got some food and stuff, I think at the pizza place again, and just in time to take Shandy to the airport. Well, back to Trixie's, pack everything, take her to the airport, drop her off at the airport, and then after that, I didn't have like a solid plan. I usually don't on these things because, winging it can be more interesting, and also it can have much more options as far as, whether or not I go to sleep or whether or not I leave right then and there for the next town. I was debating on whether or not I should start driving towards Colorado Springs, which was my next destination, and just, pull over, get a hotel in St. George or something like that. It would save me 130 miles the next day. But instead, I ran into Danielle Violet Carroll and Spencer of Fort Wayne, and Kate Marie of Schererville, and Michelle Martin of West Palm Beach. And we all just sort of hung out there for a little bit, and then different groups broke off and then converged again. And we ate dinner, funny conversation. I hadn't been drinking at all. Michelle had been drinking, and Kate drank a little. Danielle, I don't think I was drinking. Anyway, the point is, it was just innocent fun, like joking about stuff. And for example, I think my gaydar is broken. I think that might be because of how often I do the voice. You know what I mean? Like, oh, stop. Like how often I've been doing that more and more recently for either a character or for the fun of it or whatever. And I think because of that, I broke my gaydar. I can't tell who's gay anymore. That's okay. It doesn't matter. It matters much, much, much less these days, even though the Republican Party still exists. So Sunday night, diner, food, went back to Trixie's, had everything already packed, slept, woke up, showered, and then headed towards Colorado Springs. But first I stopped at Pole Fitness Studio, because last year when I stopped by there to get the picture of Xerxes in front of Pole Fitness Studio, right when I was about to take that picture, I got distracted, and I realized that 300 miles down the road last year. So this year I made sure I got that picture. And Polecats had a new location, so I went to the new location, got some pictures, got to see the lobby of the studio. It looks pretty cool. You can hear me congesting up. I'm convinced the reason why I'm congested and sick right now, and the reason why I was pretty much deathly ill the last 2 days, is because of the rapid altitude and temperature changes from the eastern part of Utah all the way to the western part of Missouri. But maybe it's just allergies that I've never had before. So got on the road, headed to Colorado Springs. Turns out that only 2 hours before that, the Volvo from UPA's group with Anne-Marie Davies and Angela Weissman were driving towards Denver to go pick up Ermengarde Mayer from the airport. Had I left a little bit earlier, and had I not pulled over as often as I did for fuel, because I was just making sure that I never ran out of fuel, I might have eventually caught up to them. They took like an hour and a half to 2 hour break there a little bit, and I almost caught up. But I got to about 30 miles with them, and that's okay. I never saw them. But Beautiful scenery again in the opposite direction. This time I'm staying on the actual highway to Denver before I head south to Colorado Springs. But by then it was nighttime and I didn't really get to appreciate the scenery. And I got it's a bad side or a bad thing, but basically that's where all the rapid elevation changes came. That highway there, I-70 west of Denver is because of the speed limits and how quickly you're going up and down elevations. It's actually no, I. Mm-mm. So I reached Colorado Springs, stayed in Diane Martin's Fun Finder again. It's such a cool little thing. And in the morning, chatted for a little bit and headed out to Pueblo to Peacock Pole Fitness. First of all, I didn't even know what Pueblo was. This is because Julie Miguel, I told him at Pole Expo that I'd like to help him, even if just by spotting in any way I could, and that I would actually be in his neck of the woods the next day. But because I arrived so late in Colorado Springs, we just rescheduled for Pueblo the next morning. So I met him and Mary down in Pueblo, and then Jacqueline showed up, and so the four of us had sort of like a pole jam there for a while. It was fun. I had a blast. I hope I helped. I think I might have made a difference. Like, even just opinions and spotting can't hurt. Okay, it could hurt, but I don't think it hurt. So much fun. Beautiful, beautiful countryside. So I left Pueblo and headed towards Columbia, Missouri, where Muse Pole Fitness was my destination. And the whole drive there was a lot of flat farmlands, boring as hell. Pretty, but boring as hell. And I eventually got into town, 2 a.m. local time. The time zones are not in my favor, the traveling west to east. So 2 a.m. local Columbia, Missouri time. And my knee was killing me and my leg was killing me. I was so sore from the drive still, and the more I drove, the more my car wanted to vibrate just from the unbalanced wheel in the front right and the bald tire in the front left. But I was never in any real danger. I always played it safe. So I got to Jordan Mazur's place, where Leah Franklin was staying over, and everybody else was asleep. But the cats were there to greet me, and they gave me a glass of wine, which I think, because of how little I ate, actually really, really, really helped loosen up my muscles. The next morning, I was so congested. I was so noticeably nauseous, and it wasn't going to happen. I wasn't going to be able to drive to Detroit to go to work because I was scheduled for work that day. At this point, we're on Tuesday. Sorry, forgot to update. And so hung out with the cats, had lunch with Jordan and Leah, and just relaxed and recovered for a whole day, or at least tried to. You can still hear me. Yeah, it's not bad. I've been taking non-drowsy decongestants since Diane Martin gave me some in Colorado Springs, and it's helped a lot. I would be so much worse if it wasn't for that. And I ended up staying one more night. I didn't mean to, but I just didn't have the focus and the concentration or the vigor to even drive any amount of long distance, regardless if it was at night or during the day. And I was looking at, okay, where's the next place that if I have to, I'll call that my destination. And there really wasn't one. There were a few places along the way that were, habited, like Springfield, Illinois, and Merrillville, Indiana. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to drive as far as I can. I'll pull over and nap when I need to. I'll pull over to avoid the rain when I need to. And that's exactly what happened. So on Wednesday, Tuesday is when I drove from Pueblo to Columbia. On Wednesday, that was my recovery day. On Thursday, yesterday, I drove from Columbia towards Detroit, pulled over several times to nap and avoid the rain, and ended up literally just reaching Merrillville, Indiana, and crashing on the couch in the basement at Kate's place, Kate Marie. That was that was really convenient. That was very hospitable of her and her family to allow me to just park in the driveway, use the garage door, go downstairs, pass out. Oh, that couch is so comfortable. Nothing against this bed or anything, but yeah. And then the next morning, got a shower, went to breakfast. Kate treated me to some breakfast. I didn't really get breakfast. I got a Philly cheesesteak with some hot sauce to try to clear my sinuses. It really did work. And took some pancakes to go. Got on the road, went to Detroit. Got to Detroit. Reunited with Shandy. Brought some stuff in from the car. Parked the car, like probably for a while now. I got some work to do on it, but it's drivable. It's just now that her car, which is modern and smooth and luxurious, is available. It would be stupid for me to continue to drive my car until my leg heals again. And she agrees. Actually, we were already on the same page on that. I'm just going to be driving the Mazda for a little bit and work out the CRX. Went to work. Like, basically, I was here long enough to change into some clean clothes and freshen up and hug and pleasantries, and then go to work and work with Tim. Forrest Gump, motherfucker. I can't stand that guy. He was supposed to not be working here when I got back, and he's still there, so I asked for my transfer to Mexican Town just down the street. My Spanish is good. Let's see how good it is when I'm needing it. And then I got back from home and started recording these videos. And now I'm definitely feeling that cyclobenzaprine, so yeah. I'm going to start uploading these. They're probably not even going to be seen for a few days. Toadstool.